The Francis Scott Keys Bridge collapsed. It was hit by a cargo ship. The principal question that many people are asking, was it accidental or intentional? Let us together explore that question. My response to that question may surprise some of you. Also, I'll be connecting the dots between the bridge collapse and the April 8th solar eclipse. Let's get right into it. Greetings, salutations to Safe to Serve International and first-time viewers. Welcome to this midday power surge. This is your spiritual oasis on this pilgrim journey. I'm your host, Andrew Henriques. Before I get into the crux of the matter, I want to remind you of what's coming on tomorrow, March 28th. It's our Career Expo 2024 for our online school, which is 3 Angels Academy. So please stay tuned for that. The time and the place to meet is right there for all of us to see. Let's get right into it, friends. What's trending? The latest on the Baltimore Key Bridge collapse. State of emergency remains in place for Baltimore, based on the mayor. His words. This thing is trending all over the media, not only in America, but around the world. They're telling us 6 missing persons, and many are presumed dead. So sad, so sad. Now let's take a look at a video clip that shows power loss, recovery until the actual crash. Recovery. Thick smoke. Power loss again. Recovery. Too late. Too late. Too late. Lord have mercy on our souls. Too late. And of course, I will come back to that theme, too late. And many people now on social media are talking about the predictive programming movie from Barack Obama and his group called Leave the World Behind. It came out, I believe, last year, the last quarter, maybe October, November, December 2023. And in that movie, there's actually a particular scene that reminds people of the cargo ship that hit and destroyed the Francis Scott Keys Bridge. Many people are saying, as you look at power being lost on the actual bridge, power on the actual ship rather, power recovered or restored, then shortly thereafter, power lost again. Many are saying it was a cyber attack. Leave the world behind. Take a look.
We are seeing ongoing cyber attacks across the country.
All right. And there is a scene all about the Dolly, the ship that brought down Baltimore Bridge in the U.S. That's the clip. And of course, it is sped up, as you can see. Now, friends, take a look at the words on the ship. The words say White Lion. Now take a look at the sentence below the title. Dolly had left Baltimore, the Baltimore port, at 1 a.m. local time on Tuesday for a roughly month-long voyage to Colombo in Sri Lanka. Now, let's take a look at it. White Lion and the cargo ship heading to Sri Lanka. Take a look at this. The actual flag of Sri Lanka has a lion as its mascot, a lion. So you can understand why people are connecting the dots. They're calling it not a conspiracy theory, but actually the fulfillment of a conspiracy. And the Bible does speak of conspiracy in Ezekiel chapter 22. You can look at verse Verse 24 onward, a conspiracy. That's your leave the world behind. And if you notice, the first stage, the second stage, and the third stage, I will return to that. Take a look at this, my friends. Other people are saying the ship that brought down the Baltimore Bridge, they're actually saying that there is a connection with the name of the cargo ship and the name of the bridge. Social media is on fire right now. This ship was called the Dolly. And they're telling us that the actual bridge is named, the actual ship is named from the man Salvador Dali. And the man Salvador Dali actually drew and painted the broken bridge. The broken bridge in 1945. Salvador Dali. Take a look at that, my friends. That's what social media are saying. All about the Dali, the ship that brought down Baltimore Bridge in the US. And this is another reason why people are saying it is not conspiracy theory. It's actually the fulfillment of a conspiracy. It's not accidental, they're saying. They're saying it is intentional. Remember, I have not given you my response, my answer as yet. I'll get to it. Now, other people are saying America is about to fall completely. Why? Because Francis Scott Key, the actual author of the Star-Spangled Banner, yes, in America, the national anthem of America. That's the name of the bridge, Star-Spangled Banner, and the bridge fell. So many are saying Babylon is falling. America is falling, they're saying. We're about to see the complete collapse of America. Now, from my point of view, I don't need to see a bridge fall, a bridge collapse, to know America is about to fall. That Babylon is about to fall. And Babylon is comprised of three entities, while Babylon primarily is potpourri. In chapter 16 of Revelation, Babylon is divided into three parts: the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. And the false prophet is apostate Protestant America. You could see why many people are saying this is intentional, it's a conspiracy. Steve Bannon interviewed Laura Logan. Laura Logan is an investigative journalist. Hear what she says. It is intentional. Hear what she says.
With me, we got a timing issue with Laura Logan. She joins us right now. Laura, you've been on fire. I saw the Gateway Pundit piece that talked about what you're coming out with. We've had a Pacific. Look, as a naval officer, I can tell you something is not right about this situation. They got pilots, the most professional guys around. I don't know how they steered it at 8 knots right into the foundational element of the bridge. They could have dropped anchor. They should have had backup systems. You say there may be something. Here's the other thing that's concerned me. Why they run to the mic? Had McCabe on this morning on at sunrise on CNN saying it's not terrorism.
Clip 2. Stay right there. Do not change your dial or swipe away. Clip 2.
Well, I have a better question for you, Steve. Why are you coming to the mic telling the country that it's not terrorism when your own intelligence agencies are telling you it is? And I know they are, because I didn't make this up. These are not my words, right? I'm talking to people who are on the inside, some who are on active duty, some who are retired, and everyone, literally from critical infrastructure in Department of Homeland Security to the intelligence agencies, they know there's no other, this is a cyber attack on a critical infrastructure corridor for the United States. This is, for those people who think this is just a river, this is in Baltimore, what does this matter? You don't know anything about what you're talking about. The I-94 corridor on the eastern seaboard is literally what connects the north and south. And when I talk about hazardous materials, right, this is a brilliant, well-planned strategic attack on one of the most important supply chains in the United States of America. The only other one is in the western side in California. That's the only one that's busier. And what you have done, you now have shut it down. And when I talk about hazardous materials, what are we talking, right? This is propane gas, this is diesel, this is fuel, this is flammable materials, this is oversized loads, nitrogen, chemicals, everything that you need for your economy to move has literally just been shut down for 4 to 5 years.
So you can see people actually saying it is intentional. Now, I didn't share with you clips where people are saying it is accidental. I'm not leaning on the side of the former, that it is intentional. Here's my point. When the video is speeded up, what do you see? Tell me, what do you see? Accidental or intentional? Take a look. When you speed up the video, what do you see? Look at that. You see, friends, the reason why people are saying it has to be intentional, because they believe crises have to be intentional for the New World Order to be completely implemented in America and around the world. It has to be intentional in order for the Great Reset to be enacted, the mark of the beast to be enacted. Now allow me to answer. It doesn't have to be accidental or intentional for the mark of the beast, the New World Order, the Great Reset, Agenda 2030, and all the other sinister agenda to be completely implemented. It can be accidental or intentional. Allow me to confirm. Watch attentively. In the book Great Controversy, page 589, Inspiration writes, while appearing to the people on the earth as a great physician who can heal all their maladies, watch, he will bring disease and disaster until populous cities are reduced to ruin and desolation. That paragraph is talking about intentional crises. And then the last phrase speaks about the exaltation of a false system of worship. Intentional. However, look at the following paragraph. It says, even now he's at work in accidents and calamities by sea and by land. That second sentence shows you the crises can also be accidental. If not, there'll be no need to put in accidents and calamities by sea and by land. You will simply say calamities. The previous words say intentional. The next paragraph say in accidents and calamities by sea and by land. Is that point clear? So here's my answer. Again, it doesn't have to be intentional. For the mark of the beast, Great Reset. No. Yes. For the agenda of the devil and the tyrants to be implemented, it can also be accidental. Do you know why? Because they have a particular mantra that goes like this: never let a good crisis go to waste, whether it's accidental or intentional. Here it is.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
Clip 2.
Rahm Emanuel, the ex-mayor of Chicago, once inferred, you never let a good crisis go to waste, meaning that when we are in crisis times, people that lead usually have much more latitude to do things they could never do under normal conditions. And boy, that is true. Whether you look at...
All right. And here it is, friends. What is the other mantra? Order out of chaos. The doctrine that runs the world based on the tyrant. Order out of chaos. It's very interesting that in the movie, Leave the World Behind, in the closing scene of the movie, the author mentioned the 3 steps to collapse, overthrow, destroy America. What was stage 1? Stage 1, do you remember? Stage 1, destroy communication. And what is stage 2? Stage 2 is synchronized chaos. You see, friends? It doesn't have to be intentional. It can also be accidental. That's the nail in their coffin. And what is that 3rd step? The 3rd step is civil war, coup d'etat, a collapse. By the way, the 1st stage is isolation. The 2nd stage, synchronized chaos. The 3rd stage, collapse, civil war. And which movie are they about to roll out? Spring of 2024, the movie called Civil War. Again, I'm going to repeat my response to the question. It doesn't have to be intentional. It can also be accidental. Watch carefully what I mean by that. Look at this. What is now the negative impact of the Baltimore bridge collapse? They write in the headline. It will have a ripple effect on the economy and the global supply chain. Do you remember the pestilence 19 crisis? Was there a global supply chain crisis? Yes, there was. So now, whether intentional or accidental, can they now keep the goods, the food, behind a particular proverbial wall and then roll out criteria that state, in order for you to access food, to access these goods, you have to give up certain rights, privacies. Do you see my point, friends? Order out of chaos, the new world order. So wake up. All right, friends, here it is. Bridge collapse disrupts key trade lane, prompting new supply chain woes. All right, friends. Bridge collapse triggers fears of inflationary supply side shocks. $81 billion trade crisis. Yes. The Baltimore bridge collapse will likely cause product shortages. Supply chain manager warns product shortages. In other words, you go on Amazon, you go to wherever you shop for food or for goods, whatever you shop for, equipment, whatever you shop for, and now they're telling you it's out of stock. Or if it's in stock, it would take at least 2-3 weeks, a month, 2 months for you to receive it once you have purchased it. Or 3, they will simply tell you, listen, it's no longer available. Supply chain crisis. Take a look at this, my friends. It's just in time for April 8th solar eclipse. Allow me to connect the dots. It just said we're talking about product shortages, all right? And this happened yesterday, March 26th. April 8th, they're calling for the total solar eclipse in America. Can they now say the solar eclipse, and because people flocked to that path of the solar eclipse, all of a sudden, state of emergency, fuel crisis, and they'll point to the Baltimore bridge collapse. Food crisis, they'll point to the Baltimore bridge collapse, because now they have a boogeyman to blame. You see my point, friends? It doesn't have to be intentional. It can also be accidental. Never let a good crisis go to waste. What did they say about the April 8th solar eclipse? They're telling us expect shortages, food, fuel, goods. Watch this.
A cosmic event for the ages, shaping up to be the hottest ticket in town. On April 8th, a total eclipse of the sun will plunge millions of viewers from daylight into darkness for more than 4 captivating minutes in parts of the country. And excitement is already building as so-called eclipse tourists rush to book travel to be in its path.
I don't see anyone making this connection. Clip 2.
Bell County, Texas, already declaring a state of emergency because its population of nearly 400,000 could double, maybe even triple.
Everything from our first responders to our healthcare systems, to our fueling stations, to our highways, to our emergency management stations, and more, all of these could be severely strained by the influx of people.
Still,
Mercy. All right, continue. Listen.
Area Township Fire Department asks residents to prepare now, including picking up prescriptions, going to the grocery store, and getting proper eye protection.
We're not trying to, scare anybody or anything with that, with us putting out that posting, but it's more just be prepared.
The Elyria Township Fire Department says they will do everything they can to keep their residents and visitors safe, as well as assist.
You see my point? Now they say the county expects traffic congestion, fuel shortages, and strains on first responders, hospitals, and what, everybody? And food. Supply chain crisis. Here is a poll question for you. Just to make sure the poll questions are posted, I want these points to stand out in bold relief. First question. Grocery stores generally run on how many days of inventory? You have 4 options. Option A, 1 week. Option B, 3 days. Option C, 1 day. Option D, 5 days. Come on, friends. You have 30 seconds to respond to that poll question and put the answer, your answer, in the poll question section, not in the regular chat area. Please, I beg of you. Beloved, what if this precipitates a great crisis? Are we prepared? The 5 keys of survival. The third key of the 5 keys, having food, water, and other resources on your property in the country. So may this crisis on yesterday serve as this reminder, and that's why I am reminding you of this. How many of you have gone to the store recently and picked up a few more items? All right, end the poll. Let's get the results here. Based on my clock, 30 seconds have elapsed. What is the result here, preacher? So we have 63% say 3 days. Option B. Well, friends, there it is. Grocery stores generally run on a 3-day inventory. All right, that's it, friends. But remember, this can quickly be used up and purchased in a crisis. American retail and manufacturers work on the just-in-time theory of supply. Yes, they work on a 3-day inventory. Question number 2. Wants the preacher give me the thumbs up. Question 2. FEMA recommends how many days of food supplies and water to endure a national crisis, a state crisis. You have 4 options. Option A, 3 days. Option B, 1 month. Option C, 2 weeks. Option D, 6 days. Now remember, some of you may not have the means to buy up all these goods and food, but do your best. And God will work a miracle with what you have. Put down John chapter 6. Did Christ not take a boy's lunch to feed 5,000 men, not counting women and children? Yes, he did. Do your best, and God will do the rest. The third key, prepare, 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 my friends. 30 seconds have elapsed. Let's stop the poll and get the results. What do we have? To drive home the point, now you see we're in trouble, right? Because 39% chose option C, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. FEMA says 3 days, brothers and sisters. 3 days supply of food and water. But we have to go beyond that. Beyond that, here it is. FEMA says 3 days supply of food and water. And they also recommend 7 days of food and water. 3 to 7 days. That's the answer, my friends. Not 2 weeks. All right. Now, some of you were hoping for another one. Let me give it to you right now. It's very, very important that we get this. All right. Here it is, friends. How many years did Joseph tell Pharaoh in Egypt to store up for the crisis of famine? How many? 4 options. 14 years. Option B, 3 years. Option C, 10 years. Option D, 7 years. You have 30 seconds. Everybody should get this one correct. How many years? How many years? Do you remember? Write down 1 Kings chapter 17. In that time of famine, drought, Elijah did not know where and how God would provide. But because he was faithful, the first of the 5 keys conversion, God sent him to the widow. And because she was also faithful and gave to God first, what happened? She had 1 meal left. And God now multiplied that 1 meal. And as a result, the Bible says, she had food for the whole year. All right. In the poll, God can provide. Let's aim for over 90% for this one, friends. Here it is. So 91%, I'm smiling over here. Amen. 91% chose option D, 7 years famine. That's Genesis chapter 47. All right. Now, 1 day in prophecy is 7 years. My point here is, can we work in the order of a reverse? 1 day is 1 year, 7 days, 7 years in prophecy. Let's work on the reverse. 7 years. What about 7 days of food, water, and resources stored up? Question number 4. Approximately how many days do gas stations have fuel before they need to refuel to call in the trucks? You have 4 options. Option A, 5 days. Option B, 2 weeks. Option C, 1 week. Option D, 2 days. You have 30 seconds, my friends. Yes. Because imagine, I looked at the actual bird's eye view of the map. The Francis Scott Keys bridge that collapsed. What about those people who lived on one side where the bridge empties out, on the other side where you actually enter the bridge? If they want to get to anywhere on either side, they must now drive around, longer commute. Then you're going to have more traffic, congestion. You see my point? Imagine you're trying to lead the cities in a crisis. You won't be able to have easy flow of traffic. See my point? Leave the wicked cities. The second key of the 5 keys, country living. So may this calamity on yesterday, the bridge collapsing, serve as a wake-up call and a reminder. Implement those 5 keys. It's time for conversion, country living. And the poll, preacher. Let's get the results here. How many days? So we have 41% chose option D, 2 days supply. 2 days. And that is correct, my friends. 2 days supply. 2 days. Now, friends, we're told, watch carefully, treat your own home as your very own store. Don't rely on the stores. No, don't rely on the stores. The April 8th eclipse is a little more than a month away, but the counties are telling us residents must get ready. In a nutshell, have 2 weeks worth, 2 weeks, 14 days of groceries purchased in advance by April 1st. What is today's date? It's March, March 27th? It's March 27th. So how many more days we have? Do you think other people didn't see this? And they're not getting ready? So when they empty these stores and you wait until the last moment, you walk into these stores, what are you going to find? Empty shelves. Whether what they're talking about will come to pass or not, fear is driving people to store up. All right, friends, here it is. Our world is one poor harvest away from chaos. Don't forget that. We're told in 1941, there was no food. Citizens starved to death. Yes. And we're told people became cannibals. What's going on now in Haiti? Cannibalism. Oh, I didn't put that slide, that news report. Cannibalism, media reports, is going on now in Haiti. All right, let's wrap this up, this segment here, friends. Here it is. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Christians should be preparing for what is soon to break upon the world as an overwhelming surprise. Here is Mr. Buttigieg.
Collapsing in seconds, Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge was the gateway to much of the country. Thousands of trucks transported goods on it daily. Goods, much of which would end up at this 350,000 square foot warehouse. John Schmidt is vice president and chief operating officer.
It's going to add probably $200 minimum to every truckload.
Each truckload carrying everything from dry goods like food to reams of paper and office machinery.
What's your warning to consumers?
Food.
Your product might take a little longer to get to you.
The Port of Baltimore is one of 3 ports along the East Coast that are at least 50 feet deep and can handle large ships like the Dali. It's the U.S.'s busiest port for cars, trucks, and sugar, handling more than $80 billion in goods last year, employing more than 15,000 jobs.
There is no question that this will be a major and protracted impact to supply chains.
Amazon, FedEx, and other multinationals tell CBS News they're still assessing the economic impact.
The best case for the port in terms of getting it to be working again is probably about a month.
And worst case scenario?
You're looking at a minimum of a year, and I'd be surprised if it's not 2 years.
And that's what they want. And even if it should not take them 2 years to rebuild, they will make sure they prolong the crisis as long as possible to implement their draconian policies. Am I clear? In chapter 18 of Revelation, the Bible speaks about ships, shipmasters, and calamities. Just before the mark of the beast, the new world order, and the 7 last plagues. We're told in chapter 18 of Revelation, it says, watch carefully, alas, alas, that great city. Verse 17, for in 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster, and all company in ships, and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and they cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? Alas, you can read the rest of that. And verse 11 through verse 13, focusing on verse 13, the Bible mentions slavery. The Bible mentions slavery. Enslaving not just the bodies of men, but the souls of men. You see my point? So based on the Bible, trading ships, cargo, yes, buying and selling, these calamities, here's my point again, whether intentional or accidental, it doesn't matter. They will use it to implement their system of slavery. I told you, we were going to address some important points today. Let's get back to this here, friends. It's all about chaos. Leave the world behind. Terrorize them. Synchronize chaos. We are told, my friends, watch carefully. In GC 589, watch. Satan and his human agents will bring disease and disaster. That is intentional. Great Controversy, page 589. I'm simply reiterating the second sentence. Even now he's at work in accidents and calamities by sea and land. Then comes the mark of the beast, slavery. Look at this statement. It's my closing statement. 4 mighty angels are still holding the 4 winds of the earth. That's chapter 7 of Revelation. Terrible destruction is forbidden to come in full. Watch now. The accidents by land and by sea. You see that point, friends? The accidents by land and by sea, the loss of life are steadily increasing. Next point. While God's angels hold the 4 winds, forbidding the terrible power of Satan to be exercised in his fury until the servants of God are sealed in their foreheads. Beloved, let's allow this tragic crisis to remind us of chapter 7 of Revelation. God's angels are withholding the winds of destruction, which point to the close of salvation, the close of human probation. The last sentence says, we need to be sealed. Get ready. Get ready, I beseech you. Get ready 3 times before it shall be forever too late. Get ready, get ready, get ready. And what is the seal of God? In the Bible, a biblical seal has 3 components: name, title, and territory. That's Esther chapter 3, verse 11, verse 12, verse 13. Yes, yes. And God's seal is found in his law. Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 16. And what is that seal in the 10 commandments? The 4th commandment. Chapter 20 of Exodus, verse 8 to verse 11. Verse 11. For in 6 days the Lord, his name, made, title, he's our maker, territory, made heaven, earth, and the seas, the 7th day Sabbath. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 19, the seal of God is victory over sin, departing from iniquity, departing from false worship, Sunday worship, to God's truth, victory over sin. Get ready, friends. Get ready. I leave it there. By God's grace, we will resume on tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern. We want to be sealed so that we do not backslide. That is Esther chapter 8 and verse 8. We want to be sealed with God's name, his character, so that we will no longer change into things which are sinful, but change into the character of God. If you have been blessed by this, give the video a thumbs up, share it. What point stood out to you? Leave that comment, put that comment in the chat area. By God's grace, I'll meet you in the chat. God bless until we meet again. Maranatha, and the protest continues.